Welcome to Daniel Reviews. I'm Daniel Goodwin, and today we are looking at this. Look at the whole thing. This portable solar panel that's equipped with a new technology called ShadeStopper technology that's supposed to improve its performance when it is partially shaded. Let's get into it. One of the things that can affect the overall solar production of a panel, whether it's portable panel or a rigid panel or a whole array, is if you have uneven or non-uniform sun distribution on the panel. So if you've got a slight shadow, even on just one of the cells of the panel, it can affect the performance of the whole power output of the panel significantly. Sometimes you'll see a 50-60% drop in the power that it's producing just because a little bit of the panel is obstructed from the sun. So with this company's technology, ShadeStopper, what they are alleging is that they're controlling each of those cells individually. And so if it's partially obstructed, it doesn't reduce the entire output so dramatically. It gets a much smaller percentage drop, which sounds really cool and useful perhaps. So we're going to put that to the test today. I don't have an unboxing video because I did break into this one a little early. You may have seen this panel in my prior video on the River 3. I wanted to pair the two together and see how it worked. Worked well. Got decent production from the panel, and the River 3 handled it just fine, so that was good. But that's why I don't have an unboxing video. But I will say it's very basic boxing. You get a cardboard box just a little bit bigger than the panel, some styrofoam inserts to hold it in place and secure it, and you get this card along with the panel. You get the card, and then almost all of the accessories are in this wonderfully included pouch on the back of the panel itself, which is fantastic. So you can see here you got this housing here that controls the main output. This is a pretty good sized cable. I'm going to guess it's probably about 9 feet, maybe. I can measure this out in a minute. But lots of cable, so if you're needing to connect from a distance, you've got it. Now, I'm less thrilled about this, but we'll talk about it more in a second. This is the plug. It's a barrel plug connector. I don't know if that's focusing, but it's a kind of a thick, I don't know how many millimeters, barrel plug connector, which is not standard. I would have preferred MC4 connectors off of this panel, but they include a barrel plug to MC4 connectors, so they kind of solve that for you, as well as a barrel plug to Anderson connector if you have something that uses Anderson, and a barrel plug to XT60 connector. So they kind of solved this, what I would think would maybe be a pain point for some people, by all these different connectors. But I do, I don't know, I'm just very old school. I would have preferred MC4 as like the standard and then have some adapters, but whatever, that's just me. They've got the stats right here on the inside of the pouch, which is great. This is a 18-volt panel rated at 5.6 amps max. So that's what it's theoretically going to produce in full power. We'll see what we get out of it. So that's the panel. If you open it up, you can see here's the cells. They have this wonderful, I'll try to zoom in on this, but textured, very rugged, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Material doesn't feel, I'm sure you could break these, but they're not going to break just accidentally. Pretty good coating and everything. This is obviously a fabric carrying handle, so this is not for permanent fixment. This is definitely a portable panel that you would take with you to a campsite or to a location. You would not try to, lash these down somewhere and just leave them out for all of time, because the sun and the rain and snow would be hard on the fabric. The panels would be fine, but the fabric would probably not wear well under constant exposure. So this is definitely a portable, light use panel, and is probably what most people would buy it for. Let's try to zoom in here. I don't know if the texture is coming through very well on the camera, but it is a very, you know, it feels very solid and reliable. I don't think there'll be any problem with that. If you count these up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each row. There's 3 rows of 6, 3 rows of 6, which gives you a total of 36 cells, which produces, or is rated to produce 100 watts of power at 18 volts, 5 point blah, blah, blah amps. That equals 100 watts in good sun. We're going to test that out and see if that's what we get. Okay, so we're setting this up in the morning sun. Hopefully we'll get enough of an angle here where we can get peak performance from the solar panel. We're going to run it into the River 3 and see what we get. And let's just do a couple tests here. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of testing. Basically, I'm going to come over here and shade partial the panel like I'm doing right here, except I'm going to try to do it a little more targeted and see how much the power production drops off. Good, and then I'm going to shade one panel, or cell, sorry, one cell, and it dropped off to about 67 from 70. Let's see about here. That dropped off to 63. Let me get something to do with this a little better. So we're back. I just grabbed a handy box to make this a little easier to block with shading. Right now with full power at 72 watts, we're going to go ahead and shade off 2 of the cells. That dropped it down to 55, well, 64. It's back up pretty good. I'm going to take out 4 cells. That drops it down to 46, which is pretty good. Just going to go ahead and just take out basically 5 cells here. And still dropped it only down to 50, which is really good. Let's see if we can do a little more here. I'm just going to stand in front of it and take out pretty much 2 full blocks and then part of another. That really drops the performance down. We're down to about 14 watts, 18 watts. So if I take out one whole panel, essentially, of the 2 panels of the folded part of the panel, it really cuts it down. I'm only getting about 5 watts now. Interestingly, let's see if I switch over to this side. Yeah, it basically takes it down to nothing, 5 watts. But if I shift over just a little bit, significant performance. It goes back up to at least 30 watts. Just to show that a little better. So it's producing right now at 62. Sun shifted a little bit. If I come in and shift off a little bit, you can see the effect drops off. If I take more, another bank, then it really impacts it. All right, next contender. This is the Calpha Solar 100 watt rigid panel. I love this solar panel. It's by far the most efficient solar panel that I've personally used. I think they're fantastic. So it's, in theory, that it should produce about the same amount of power as the ShadeStopper one, or the one with the ShadeStopper technology. We're gonna put that to the test. Just here a little bit. Let me just plug in this one will go to the Calpha Solar one. See what production we get, if any. It usually takes a little bit to stabilize. Let's see what it stabilizes at. We're in position. Just going to get my cardboard box. I'm going to start by blocking out just a little small corner of the panel. And you can see that immediately impacts its performance, takes it down to 17. And I'm barely blocking hardly any of the panel. Let me take that off for a minute. Yeah, so see it popped back up to 60. Now I'm going to block out a good couple of rows and see what it does. Yeah, huge difference. Whereas with the ShadeStopper, it took it down a little bit, but this one almost cuts the power to basically almost zero. Okay, so can we see a difference between the Calpha Solar 100-watt rigid panel and the ShadeStopper technology portable panel? We absolutely can. I did a very small, I won't say it's super scientific, but it's more of a practical, like what would really happen. And if you just take out, you know, a couple of these cells on the ShadeStopper, it reduces output, of course, but only by, you know, 10 watts or so. You take out even just a little bit of the Calpha Solar, it's going to cut it almost to zero. So this definitely has an advantage in that sense. Granted, you know, there's a limited returns. You take out a couple full rows or even, you know, a whole side, it is going to drop it to almost zero because it just can't overcome that. But it's really good at handling a drop to a single cell or maybe even two cells, whereas in this the rigid panel here can't take it at all. Like if you block just one of them, it's going to reduce your overall output. So the ShadeStopper technology definitely does work with this panel. That it does what it. So I'm pretty impressed with it, considering it's a portable panel. To have that ShadeStopper technology that actually works in practical use, like if you have a small uneven or non-uniform shade or a sun pattern on the panel, it does its best to get maximum efficiency out of what it is receiving. And I could demonstrate that was an advantage over my fixed solar panel. So I like that a lot. That said, I do have to be honest, it's a portable solar panel for a reason. If you can't get it into full sunlight, you are in the middle of the woods somewhere, you know, and there's just no sunlight. So it's helpful. It's definitely an improvement over a standard solar panel, but you know, it'd be kind of weird to be in a situation where you can't get the whole panel in full sunlight. But your situation may be different. So if you're needing to tweak every little bit of efficiency out of that portable panel, this ShadeStopper technology will absolutely help you do that. Just the ShadeStopper, which I don't want to undersell that, the ShadeStopper technology, because it works and it's great. But beyond that, it's just a great portable panel. You know, I love the design. It's very well put together, well designed. You got this great handle to carry it by. I love the included pouch. You can wrap everything up into this self-sustained panel and carry it out with you. And it's light enough. It's not heavy. If you've ever moved like a not trying to call out EcoFlow, but they have a 400-watt folding panel. Like, this is night and day from that. Not only is this, of course, only 100 watts, but that one is a beast to move around. Whereas in this one, you know, you can pick it up one-handed. It's a little heavy, but easily I could carry other stuff with. I could grab my river for sure with the other hand, and, you know, haul it out from the campsite or wherever you're going. So it's just a really well-designed portable panel is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I had to slide the cable in there. I got all my attachments in there, and then I just, whoops, it's a little hard to do one-handed, zip it up. And now it's all self-contained and ready to go. All right, so in conclusion, what are my thoughts on the 100-watt panel with the ShadeStopper technology? Well, I think it's a great portable panel, great for camping, great for anywhere where you're gonna need to, you know, takes your power source with you and pack it up and pack it out, sort of thing. Fantastic there. I love the design of it. I love the way they've integrated all of the you know, the pouch into the panel. They give you 3 different connectors or adapters that are very easy to work with: the X60, the Anderson connector, and then the gosh, I've forgotten what the other one was. Oh, just a barrel plug. So you got lots of variety options depending on what your power station is. The ShadeStopper technology does work. I was able to prove that. It works much better than a standard monocell panel. If you have a partial blockage or maybe a cloud coverage takes a couple of the cells out, it still produces a significant amount of power versus the standard panel like the Calpha Solar one I was looking at. So all of that is good. The pricing on this, I think there's different deals that you can get on it. I think it's competitive, and particularly if you're looking to squeeze the most amount of power out of a 100-watt portable panel, this is probably your option, because this will give you a little bit of leeway when you do have those cloudy days or areas where you just can't ensure that the panel stays in the sunlight the whole time. If that's less important to you, then maybe there's more affordable options, but I think you are getting something for your money here with this panel.